Creative rhymes, I was positive surgeon. Cosmic folks see emergence. Brain of eternal, hands on my time. Impossible prince can God watch you step in the mind. Soul triggers, power holy divine righteousness. Combined with courage, love of essence. Don't let trauma bind and block your blessings. When you behind the veil, you hear the confession. Give you limitation, corruption, fear, deception. This the age of knowing, evolution, and resurrection.
Welcome back to another episode of Talk That Crap. Today is going to be a great episode. We're going to be talking about relationship models and the impact. I actually initially had another couple that's supposed to be coming on, and maybe they'll be going through a little bit of traffic or something like that, and maybe they'll be joining us a little bit later. For now, we're going to go ahead and roll with the king and the queen right now today themselves. We're going to be talking about relationship models. So, in this relationship model, could y'all introduce yourself for me, please?
Okay, Quinn.
I'm Sabina Jackson.
And I'm Jamal Shaquem Bey. Jamal Shaquem Bey, her husband.
Blessed. Thank you for blessing me once more again with your presence upon the platform. I really appreciate you giving up your time and giving up your energy and your knowledge when it comes to relationships. So let's just dive right into it. Because we know that there are many what we call models and relationships out there that you can pick and choose to be in any type of relationship that you desire. What will you say that are some of the models that make your relationship and your marriage so strong? What are some of the models that you created for yourself that you understand how important it is to love your queen and show her how much you love her?
Well, it's interesting because when I first met her, I was going through a transition. And the transition, I had got to a point in life that I said, you know what, Most High, I need for you bring the woman I need into my life. Because I was, all these years, I was trying to do it myself. And I was running into issues and problems. So I said to the Most High, I'm going to let you find my queen, my woman, my earth for me. And I'm going to stay out my own way and let you bring that person to me. And so we met at a cookout. And a friend of ours, a mutual friend, was trying to, I guess, call herself hooking us up. But I was cooking, and that was one of my passions because I was doing something for her because her dad was sick. Her dad had cancer. So to me, I felt like as an OG in the community, in the world, the kind of person that I am, I chose to cook for her and her event because her father had cancer. But then she introduced me to Sabina. And while I was cooking, Sabina wanted me to rap to her. I had to look at her and stop and say, hold on now, babe. We're going to have a lot of time to have communication. But while I'm cooking this food, I got to stay strictly business because I'm doing this with this purpose of making sure this young lady's father, his dreams still come true even though he wasn't able to cook. Right after I finished cooking, we started talking, and she had so much beautiful potential, and I knew it had to be God because we was talking about things of spiritualness and fullness. Hey, bruh.
That's the queen. That's Miss Sigma
Hey, how
Uno.
you doing, Miss? I'm sorry.
I know I'm dark. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Nick.
I couldn't see.
Keep on going, brother.
Yeah.
Out of the darkness into the marvelous light.
So to make the point that we started having a very beautiful conversation, and it was all spiritual, and we was saying the things that we want to do and want to try and want to follow the Most High's direction. And so that made me gravitate to her because I knew that it was different from what I've been going through. What I've been going through was people that was all about I, and I wanted to be about us and we. So when I met her,
Mm.
she seemed like she was a more of a person that was willing to go the distance, and it been the best choice I made in life.
And Sabina, what would you say some of the models that you used when it came to him that impacted
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we
What I will say is that the family that I came up in a two-parent household. You know, my mother and father was together. You know, my grandparents was together. So I've seen the do's and the don'ts when it comes to relationships. And even though I would say 7 to 8 years old, I was able to comprehend and understand a lot, which they didn't think that I knew. You know, they thought that I was the typical 7 to 8 year old girl, but honestly, I wasn't. Because there's a lot of things that I do remember coming up and what I seen in their marriages, which I know that I don't want to repeat, that I don't want in mine. But some of the things ended up, I repeated in mine, and once I recognized it again, I was like, you know what? I don't, this is something that I don't want because I know what the consequences is going to be. Now, the thing that gravitated me to Larry was that when we met, and like he said, yeah, we had a conversation, but 2 weeks after we met, guess what we did? We started business. Who does that?
wow.
2 weeks after
Okay.
we met, we started business. And that business is
Wow.
still going as of today.
Y'all had the rubber meet in the road immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
was
I'm
like,
talking about.
I say, when God do it, He does it. I say, you the first woman ever said, let's start a business together. I say, what? Let's do it.
Yeah,
Can't
because
you can't beat that. I mean
no.
that's beautiful in itself right there. That's the model. That's a true model right there of meeting someone and in less than 2 weeks creating a business together and then go on to get married. I mean, like you said, where that happened at? Right here where the rubber meets the road, as Miss Sigma Uno just said. I'm telling you. Welcome back to the platform, Miss Sigma Uno. Where the big
Yeah.
dog? Where the big Uno at?
Ooh, pray, just pray. Watch and pray.
I'm
We
not.
we
I'm not with
we
you.
we a whole blended family. We working on our blend right now, and some of our children are grown, and some of our children are not grown. They just want to be grown. So he's dealing with the want to be grown at the moment.
Well, facts. So
So yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with the same question. We were talking about relationship and models. What was the that helped you understand your love you had for Sigma Uno and still have that brought y'all back together? Y'all separated, came back. What was the thing that made you understand to go away and then come back?
Well, when I initially met him, I saw my great grandfather in him. I saw my
Mm,
grandfather in him, and I saw the man who raised me in him. Um,
mm,
so he had the attributes, he just hadn't learned all the lessons yet. We part, and I know I've said this before on a different platform, but me and Mr. Sigma Uno parted ways because he could not keep his nails clean. He couldn't do it. As petty as that sounds, we parted ways early in the juncture. We were in our late teens, early 20s. Um, he couldn't keep his nails clean. And my thing is how are you going to take care of me and you're not taking care of yourself?
Wow.
mm.
First and foremost, I know my role and ultimately I have to take care of you, but I can't scrub your nails for you. I can't bathe you. I can't things that you should be able to do for yourself. Just self-love, self-care. I can't self-love you. And so until he got to the point where he had got that self-love lesson, we couldn't, because then I'm constantly coming behind somebody who's struggling, and I'm pouring into him and pouring into him and pouring into him, and it should be revolving. I pour, he pour,
Right.
we pour, and I saw that. So I was like, I'm gonna have to let you go on this juncture. I'm sure at some point, because of the town that we were in, we were gonna meet again somewhere down the line, and
Okay.
it happened.
And it did. It did.
And it
That's a
did.
beautiful thing right there. Hey, what you want to say, something, Larry?
Yeah, I think that was so, because you know one thing about you, Queen, what you did was establish a boundary, and you didn't go in there saying, well, you know, one day, hopefully he'll clean his nails, but you was so straight and to the point, and he had no other choice but to understand that that's what you're looking for. You want someone to love themselves. Actually, me and my wife used to go through that, and she used to tease me all the time. She used to say, I think you're selfish. I said, no, I'm just confident. And I say, you think I love you more than I love me. I love me. And I have to take care of me, because how can I take care of you if I don't love me? So she'll tell you,
Say that.
I got it from my dad, because when I step out into the street, I not only represent me, but I
I'm
represent
presenting
you.
you. Hmm.
So if I don't represent you in a productive way of smelling good, make sure my nails is clean, you know, and stuff
My
like
good.
that, that's gonna look
Oh
bad
well.
on you and me.
What do I look like going to the grocery store? The big old pink rollers in my hair, the fuzzy slippers with the one bunny ear fell off, and one of them got a nose, one of them got an eyeball, in a moo that got spaghetti sauce on one side and bacon grease on the. I mean, I come from an era where people, oh my lord, I'm about to tell them myself, used to get dressed to catch an airplane somewhere.
I know that's right. That's true.
You
Yeah.
used to get dressed to go to the grocery store. You used to get
Say that
dressed
one more
to
time.
go check the mailbox. There wasn't no going outside in the bonnets. Lord knows I love the protective. All I love that for you at night when you go to bed. I should
Yes.
never know what color bonnet you had on last night unless I'm at your house when we all wake up in the morning.
Right.
But see,
You try to make
that's the generation. It's so sad, because the younger generation, they think it's cool to come out in pajamas, underwear showing, and they think it's so cool. But where we come from, in the generation we come from, no, you better not to go out the house that way, because
how you
your mama
how
and
I see
father.
your underwear and you have on a belt. I somebody make that make sense. But and I found in somewhere between our generation, a lot of it came out of our generation into the next. We decided that there was a lot of things and that we thought was the most, that we're doing too much, that our parents or our grandparents did, that we decided we wasn't going to do that, right? Well, this is the product of not doing those things. These kids are running around here and they boxers hanging out is the result of not doing those things and staying on top of them. And it's the result of letting there's single parents out there, but it's the effect of letting the boys and girls clubs raise your kids, because the boys and girls club can't raise your kids. They out there hanging with their homeboys who also have their butts hanging out the back of their stuff.
I
Right.
think it's also a part of media, because our kids watch so much of these videos and the media, and they trying, instead of their parents being their role model, we dumb and we old. So they start to look at these fads out there and say everybody else is doing it, and that's their makeup on it. That we old, and that we doing it incorrectly, and that's not true. But that's what they feel. So an old lady told me once, because I used to be stressed out about my children making decisions. She said, "Son, you're gonna have to learn to let go and let God, and you pray for them, because what happens is, as we try to stay on top of them, after a while they tune us out, because we not. It's like we're not talking the same language. So what happens is What is raising kids these days is media, these fads, the TikTok. I was on it today looking, and all you see is these dances. They want to do all these different dances. But when people start talking about education and IULs and stuff like that, oh, they got to get away from that because they're not into that. But I just had a conversation with my son, and I was talking about IULs. And I was telling him what the road that me and my wife doing because it's so important for us to start doing. We starting late, but I've been hearing about IULs for the past 5 years, and I'm like, this is what we got to get into because maybe in 20 years, we could also show our children how to become our own bank. But I'm sorry, brother, I took over the show, so let me let you.
No. But that's a model. That's a model. What you are explaining is a model, and that's what this whole conversation is about. It's about relationship models, how to take what happened in our past. Maybe that model was no good, and maybe we need to re-update that model. Maybe we need to tear a model down and rebuild a whole new model in case of what we're going through right now. So, Uno, glad to see you made it back, brother. Glad to see you made it back. Salute.
How you doing? Just dealing with some
yeah, you are already. So we just jumping in, and could you tell me like what was one of the models that you used when you share your love with Miss Sigma Uno? Because again, we already told the story. She already told the story of y'all separating and coming back. She told us why. Dirty nails. And
yeah, the fingernails.
She told us. So right. So the separation and coming back. Were there any particular models that you used? Something that maybe came from childhood, something that you may learned along your journey that you modeled to make sure that you know how to show that love to her?
I think we always with each other from high school. It's been actually middle school. Jeez, middle school. Since middle school, it's been this type of affection, but that we had an understanding about each other. It was kind of a silent understanding, or a silent. Gosh, it was silent because it was never really a sit down and saying, okay, this is what we do, this is how we operate. It's kind of like we watched each other, and reuniting was based on what we knew about each other over the years. Now we've crossed paths, I don't know how many times during our adulthood, just being in different spaces. And like when I was working for the mortgage company, she was part of that space, connects with my brothers and sisters. I mean, we've known each other again for years. So the cookouts, the sitting with the kids at Odyssey
Funplex,
One, at the Funplex, and those type of things. So it was like we got together and we hung out based on those things, and it was more like understanding where we were in regards to family. So when it comes to Anai and those guys, I've known them since they were little itty bitty babies, and we were all a part of each other's lives. She knows my nephew, who Alicia, her youngest, is the same age. They're the same age, born in the same month, and we just, I mean, we mixed with that. We got together, but see, the weird part about it is I can't remember when everyone separated, went their own ways. I couldn't remember how that happened, but it just happened. You know what I'm saying? So when that happened, it was like, okay, everybody's on doing their thing again. Next time I met, she was working at Kelly Services. I was working at another mortgage company, and we connected again for a certain period of time. We talked. It was like these catch-up moments where we were always getting together, finding out where each other was at, what was going on in each other's lives, support. I mean, some major traumatic experiences we shared during that time frame. A lot happened. So it was like we were grooming. We were being groomed through our experiences with each other over a time frame, and by that time we knew each other very well. So this last time when we reconnected, again, I was hunting for her for quite a while, and I came to the point to where I was like, maybe she's married, she's got grandkids, she's on her way. Maybe I should just give up and walk away. I want to say a week later, I get a phone call, and it was her, and I was like, "What? Wait a minute, how is this possible?" We're reconnected again,
Woo!
and so this time it was us, and we talked about the girls, how they grew up. Anaya had 2 kids. Alicia went on to the military, like my nephew went on to the military. They both went their ways. How the skip traces where there was a color guard competition that we were both at the same time and we didn't see each other, but the kids were there, and it was like, okay, there's nothing else that we need to know about each other but this. But the silent, we're finally addressing this silent, overwhelming love that we had, and these moments of acceptance, and just kind of relaxing into how we wanted to be in each other's lives. So it was like during the time of her birthday, or getting ready to be her birthday. So the moments up to and through the birthday, we celebrated for a week, a whole week.
He's lying.
No, it was more than a week.
He's lying. I was set up, hoodwinked, run amok, manipulated.
Oh, don't do this. Don't do this, people.
This man, for the whole month of my birthday, twice a week, we were somewhere. Wine tasting, movies, deli. There was no inch of the town that we were in that we did not explore the month of my birthday. See, don't. No. In retrospect, it was a setup. It was a setup.
It was a beautiful setup.
I was manipulated.
That was his model showing his love for you. That's what we call it. That's what we calling that.
That's it.
I'm gonna call it gangster. I love it.
You hear what I'm talking about? Everywhere. We went everywhere, he said.
Everywhere.
Right. So do y'all think in today's, this for both couples, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all think in today's
Uh-oh. You know, froze up on us?
You done froze on us.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Come on back,
Come
bro.
back.
Come on.
It's the cat shirt. It's the cat
Come on
shirt.
back. Come on back.
Am I back? Am I back?
Yeah,
Am I back?
Okay. So in today's,
Whoa. Woo. So do you think that the model that our youth are looking at today, that they have looked at things that have been maybe so dysfunctional, so traumatized, so looking at different ways to just be other than their own parents? Because you know that most of the time when we leave home, we don't want to be nothing like our parents, right?
Right.
So could our youth have picked up models after they left home that were in confusion with the model they had when they was at home?
It depends on what. See, it depends on what happened. If there was a lot of trauma going on in the household, then they're running completely away from what they've seen and what they experienced. So
Okay,
I mean,
right.
and for us, me and my siblings, it was sort of like that. But it was sad because my mom, we realized later she was in mourning for my father, and everything that she did was based on this stage of mourning that almost never ended. You see what I'm saying? So she didn't want him to be gone. She was 19. Was he 18? No, yeah, she was 18 when they met. He was 21. He took her to her prom. As his sister convinced him to take my mom to her prom because she didn't have a date. So during the prom, that's when they fell in love with each other. and they were inseparable after them. So 9 children later, 1 passed away. She's there. He dies, and she's left with all nine children. So that we understood, and that's a hard place to be. I understand that now. It's a hard place to be, but I couldn't understand it as a child. I just knew we were there to try to support, and maybe she couldn't understand that because from her perspective, we were children and we didn't know anything. But we knew what was happening. We were feeling the same pain. My dad was a good man. So it was like, okay, we don't got him here no more. She's struggling. She's struggling emotionally. She's struggling with 9 children. We worked. Me and my brothers worked, so we did the best we could to help support, and all the rest of those things. But it was something that she could not relinquish from her thoughts, and a lot of things happened as a result to it. So I mean, we understood. Me and my older sisters understood the love relationship that they had. So we could duplicate that because my dad was a winer and a diner. He took her to dinners. He bought her flowers just because he loved on her in front of us. The kisses and the hugs. He danced with her in front of us. So we saw that and we remembered and understood. You see what I'm saying? But my younger siblings, they didn't know to understand that. So it was a different thing when they left. They wanted to break out and just be free. But like I was trying to explain to them, the world is not going to respond to your idea of what you believe it is. They're just going to respond to you as a person. And regardless of what you want to do, there are these pitfalls out here that you may fall in. So there's a specific way you need to treat people and respect people in order to get ahead in life. But they didn't want to see it that way. My brother went full gangster. That's what he wanted to be. That's what he saw. He was in Sacramento when it was solidified in his mind, and that's all he did. My other brothers and sisters it was confusion for most of us. I was gone first, and when I got there, when I got to my grandmother's house, we talked, and she said, "Look, you need to establish yourself because you got brothers and sisters. They may be coming out after you. You need to get yourself ready because they're going to need your help." So I began to prepare myself for them to come out. So most of my life is supporting them, doing what was necessary, and saying what was necessary, so they can understand the need to, so for them to move on and have a life of their own. It never worked out like I planned at all, period. But I said it. But I got a chance to say it, and that's what I'm saying. They can never say that ain't nobody told them, and that was my thing. I said, look, you can't sit up and say that nobody ever told you, regardless of what you're impacted with or the choices that you make. You cannot say nobody told you that these things weren't going to happen. Some things were going to happen because they do, and being Black is a huge part of it. The being picked up walking from Safeway 2 blocks away, being harassed by the police, getting calls that he's locked up, then got in trouble with his friend by burning a shoe in a house. It was just some crazy decisions that he made, but it didn't help that he was a young Black man. It didn't help at all. And the same with my other brothers. We all experienced that, and I was trying to shield them from that or prepare their mind, but there's no way to shield them from that. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But as far as them picking that up and walking with it, and then recreating that same type of environment or something that looks like that. My brother now is 45 years old, and I'm watching his Facebook now, and the things that he's saying, because he never attached to any type of religion or not before. He's a Catholic. He's out and he's now supporting at-risk youth. I'm like, well, he got it. Finally, he got it. He got 11 children, so he's supporting his 11 children. Not that anything didn't happen or he didn't go through nothing, but I think he's at a place where he's a little more solid now, and he's able to realize I have to reach back into my community and support. I have to go to these events and show my children that this is what the community looks like. So it's eventually they'll get it. Eventually they'll look back and they'll grab it. Because I sat back and I can't say it like you said. I can't say I told you so but I can sure look at it and be like, gotcha, you finally got this. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the thing. And I'm gonna let somebody else talk because I'm talking too much. I realize that.
Brother Larry, go ahead.
I agree to a lot of what he said because the point I was gonna make was
Mm-hmm.
similar to yours, and what it is. My dad and mom was two different individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mom was a Christian, Jehovah Witness. My
Mm.
dad was run the street, gamble, and do his thing and drink, right? So I
Right.
had two different things I was seeing at the same time as a young child. But
Mm.
what I started noticing when I got to maybe 6, 7 years old, that I had a conscience, and I felt even at my age at that time, I'm gonna make a conscious decision at 7. I say, I am not gonna be this hoe my uncles and my dad and all of them was. I wasn't gonna do that
Right.
because
Right.
Right.
I said because I see where they have a lot of turmoil. So
Right.
I made at 7 years old, I made a choice. And then it wasn't until I got in my 20s when it came to Christianity and all these different religions, again, I had to make a choice for myself. That's what
Right.
happens sometimes with our children because
Right.
you could tell them and tell them all day long. But then when
Right.
when their eyes open up and they start to see, I also have a choice. I can either go this way, I can run with this crowd and be put
Right.
in jail and go to jail, or
Mm-hmm.
I can hang with the crowd that's trying to make money and trying to hustle in a positive and a
Right.
professional way and
Right.
not be in no jail and to be in no handcuffs.
Right. Right.
And I could treat women this way instead of treating them that way. So
Right.
at a certain point in time, all children, all people, it comes to a point in time in their life. It may happen later, it may happen early, but you almost make a conscious decision to do something different because you don't want to go this route because you saw where that route was going,
Right.
because you
Right.
saw it in your people. So
Right.
now, as we got older, my son looked at me one day and said, Dad, I love you. I appreciate all the beautiful advice you give me. But sometimes you have to let me take this road and make my own mistakes
Mm-hmm.
because how he was going to learn. So now,
Mhm.
even till this day, I can sit there and talk, and he asked me different questions. We were talking about insurance, and I'm telling him the difference and what and this and that. And he was like, and he asked another question. See, now he's starting to appreciate the wisdom I'm not, because even though I'm at this age now, I'm still learning. And I'm
Right.
still
Yeah.
gonna pass that information off to my children, to my
Mhm.
grandkids. So they
Right.
may say right now, I don't want to hear it, but you plant the seed. So hopefully they hear it, and then one day it comes back to them and they start applying. Because that's what saved my life. My mother
Mm.
said, when you have nobody else in life, you always have God. You always have the Most High.
Right. Right.
Guess what? That saved my life.
Mm.
Because when I was wanting to go and revenge a death of my cousin, if it wasn't for her telling me that, trust God.
Right.
If you in a turmoil, sit down, meditate, pray. And that's what saved my life. That's why I'm here to talk to you about it today.
Right.
Because I was able to make a
Ooh.
decision based on having all the information I needed. And the main information I needed was, man, when things are hard, trust the Most High. Stop
Right.
trusting in yourself to do it
Okay.
all, because you can't.
Right. Right.
I'm letting somebody else speak now.
I got a question for the ladies. I got a question for the ladies. Was there any particular relationships that impacted your life that helped you to see the love that you have now for your significant other?
You want to talk?
I say, like I said, I saw my great grandparents, my grandparents,
Okay.
my parents, not so much so, but the relationships that they had after the fact, you get to see and pick and choose what you want and what you don't want, what works,
Okay.
what doesn't work.
I got you.
Because like I've stated before, I've got the arranged marriage I've got the I love you marriage. I got the because we had to or because somebody was pregnant marriages. I've seen all of those. I was privy to watch all of those in my youth. So it's like, I know I don't want this and I know I don't want that. So I need to make sure I'm doing everything to the contrary to not end up in those particular situations. Because I knew there was situationships that I was not trying to deal with. I knew I did not want a situationship. I did. If we gonna be in a relationship, we gonna be relating, but it's not gonna be a situation. We gonna be related, but it ain't gonna be no situation.
Ain't gonna be no Will and Jada.
No situation up in here.
No.
No.
That's a wedge marriage.
I can't even remember what that was.
That was a wedge.
Come back, Miss Sigmuno. Come back, Miss Sigmuno. Come back.
Foolishness, and that's the thing. When you're looking at the examples that we had coming up, we had Phil and Claire Huxtable. We had All in the Family. We had What's Happening. We had all of these. George and Wheezy. We was moving on up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For our kids' generation, they completely trashed Cosby.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying?
No.
And the thing is they didn't say that he was vindicated. They never told you that part.
No.
They put all the trash out there, but not the vindication.
No, they never do that.
Right? So they defaced all of the wholesome Black marriages and Black situations that we had, and or they Lord help me, or they whitewashed them. Right? We couldn't just have living single and not school days, but y'all know what I'm talking about. We had to have friends and cheers but all of them were our shows before they were their shows. Right. So. And they made sure that their shows were successful and syndicated and on forever prior to our stuff even coming back. So it was like all of our good, everything that we had that was good, they made sure that they tainted some kind of way. Not that it's still, Lord knows, Felicia Rashad, love.
I met her in person, beautiful person.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We had some good stuff. It was entertaining, and they dealt with stuff that we dealt with. Right. So they had actual real life, almost real time situations that we were watching at that time. Nothing is new under the sun. So now that they're watching the reruns and doing all this extra stuff, now all of a sudden, it's vintage, but it is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad and roll with it. Now, Will and Jada, they just Jesus bless the Lord.
That's different. No, don't take me there.
Okay. Felicia, I met her in an elevator in Manhattan.
Oh wow!
She was just the sweetest and humblest person. They're just one-on-one, and she was just like watching the TV show. So I knew she was authentic because when I met her in this, I was like starstruck. But she put her hand on my chest and say, "How you doing, honey?" And it was, I felt like I was about to faint because she was our hero. She was our hero. But to be her in life and know that she still had that same persona of being a beautiful person, or her sister Debbie Allen the same way. They was really authentic and real people.
Right.
For me,
Miss Lady.
For me, I watched my grandparents and my parents. Now, my grandparents, I've been around them a lot more than my parents because when we lived there, we all had land and everybody lived on one property. So I can go from one house, to the next because it was all family.
Right.
But with my grandparents, my granddad, he owned a lot of businesses.
Uh-oh.
No.
In the middle of what they were saying.
I used to watch her.
In the middle of what they were saying.
She would go to work. She would come home. She would cook and do what she needed to do. My mother watched her do the same thing. But the difference between my grandparents and my parents, even though my grandparents was older, I could tell in their relationship, they was peaceful, Wasn't no drama. I never heard them argue. If they had a disagreement, they didn't do it. They didn't do it in front of me. They did. Now, my parents, that's a whole different story. But I'm gonna tell y'all this funny story about my parents and what I did. Couldn't have been no more than 9, 10 years old. This is during the time my mom was working. Her and my dad was working at the same job, right? So my dad was out there doing his thing. She was doing her own thing too. The difference was both of them was wrong. The difference was my dad made sure they didn't come to the house because his kids was there. He made sure they did not come to the house. We did not see it. We did not hear it. You know? But my mom, on the other hand, that was a totally different story because she was just bold with hers. So during that time, you know, we had the telephone with the rotary dial, right? So the boyfriend would call all the time. Every time the boyfriend would call, I answer the phone. He would never say nothing. It'd be dead silence. But I know who it was. So he kept doing that, kept doing that, kept doing that. So me, with my special self, I got tired of it. So my daddy came home from work one day, and I just told him. I was like, Daddy, I'm tired of my mama. I'm tired of my mama boyfriend calling here, and every time I answer the phone, he won't say nothing. That caused a big argument. I got the ass cutting of a lifetime.
Wow, yeah.
But that showed, but what it did, it showed my mama, oh, she ain't no fool. Yeah, I'm the oldest of all of my siblings, but I wasn't no fool.
Mm.
So they already,
Oh, I
so
love
she
that.
knew she couldn't pull nothing over me any kind of way.
Right.
And as we all got older and when we all left home, it was just my 3 younger sisters that was there, and that's when her and my dad decided to get a divorce. Because then my dad started getting bold with the stuff that he was doing.
Right.
But what my mother did, which I think was wrong, was she kind of like turned my sisters against our dad. And I had to be the one to let them know, no. You don't take sides in that. I said, because there's a lot, because I had to explain to them there's a lot that they didn't know why everything transpired to what it came to be. So I had to break it down to all of them. And they was like, well, Mama never told us this. I said, because she's not going to tell you that. She's not going to tell you that. But to this day, because we've seen all that, I have a sister. She acts just like our father. I look like him, but she acts just like him. She was married. Now she divorced. Got a boyfriend and a side dude. If the boyfriend don't do right, the side dude will do right. That's just her mindset. Because guess what? She's seen that coming up. I got another sister. She married her high school sweetheart. They had 2 kids together. He cheated on her. It devastated her. Got divorced. She never remarried. She became celibate. If a man tried to hit on her now, you know what the first thing she could tell him? She said, if you thinking you can get between my legs, you got another thought coming. Because it ain't happening, Captain. She tell him that's the first thing that she says. Guess
What's the second thing is?
Her hobby, that sister love guns.
Right.
She has about 7 of them. She told me and my husband that going to the gun range, shooting her gun is just like having an orgasm.
I was like, wow. I want to mess
All
with
right.
What? I heard that. I heard that.
All right.
But the sad thing for me, what is sad for me when it comes down to my siblings, especially my sisters, is because what they seen coming up, and they try so hard not to repeat that cycle. That cycle still entered their life, and the reason why it entered their life because they didn't recognize what it was.
Right.
And that's how you can get away from models, but if you don't recognize what's trying to come in your life, if you don't recognize what's on you, what's in you, you're going to attract that same thing to you.
Over and over again, right?
Yep.
And if you don't recognize that and cut that off, you're gonna live that. And that's the thing. And that's the sad thing because they didn't recognize it. I didn't really recognize it at first.
Mm.
I didn't know. I'm talking about for you. I didn't recognize it at first. But once I really did recognize it and I made up my mind, that's when I met him. That's when I met him. If I hadn't, I never would have met him. Never.
Right.
Never would have met him.
Mm.
So with the relationship models, a lot has to do with what we saw as children, teenagers, and as young adults with our families, especially our parents and our grandparents. If we see bullshit, that's what's gonna happen in our life if we don't recognize it at the jump and cut it off for what it is. True. And cutting it off for what it is you got to deal with you. It ain't about the other person. It's about you.
Yeah, you're right.
Because when I first met him, he has a lot of female friends. And he know I don't care for that like that. And the reason why is because of the stuff that I had to deal with. But I had to recognize, okay, this ain't, I used to tell him, oh, I done seen this before. I done seen that before. And the reason why, because I never dealt with what I saw, the models that I saw coming up, to realize it may look the same, but it ain't the same.
That's right.
So you got to be
Come on with that. Come on.
That's right.
You got to tell the difference.
Because I don't want kids in every state.
No.
I ain't want
Check.
that. Right. I didn't want to have women walking up to my wife and say, "Oh, I had your man today." See, so just like you said, it comes a point in your life that you have to take control of yourself.
Right.
And be self-aware what can harm her, what can do something. I knew what background she was coming from. Right. So I wasn't going to try to bring that into her life because I don't want it in my life either.
Right.
I didn't want it in my life. Right. So even somebody said recently, hey, man, I see this girl looking at it. She could keep on looking. I'm keep on going this way. Because I ain't got nothing for them. My energy is geared to her, geared to me, geared to my family. I don't have the time for the bull. I am too old. She massaged my arm every day. I'm not going to find that no more.
Look, I get it. She cooks, and she cooks good. Yeah. It ain't no mess.
And she cooks.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And she put me on the finest of wines.
Right, there you go. That's it.
My God. Yes. Okay. All right, let me ask another question to the fellas. Mm-hmm. If divine woman was revered more than she is today, what could be the impact of those relationship models if men really revered the divine feminine energy which is inside of all of our queens today?
It would change the world.
It would literally change the world. I agree.
It would change 100%. The world.
And the ones that the young ladies that are insecure that didn't get their fathers, look, you have to treat your daughters as if they're the only man and you're the only man in their life. That means if you give the teddy bears and the candy during Valentine's Day, I took my daughters out to an Italian restaurant or Olive Garden for Valentine's Day. We sat and we talked. We ate. For their birthdays, it was the same thing. I flooded with gifts. It's your birthday. Give them little rings and necklaces and enough money. The reason why I do that is because I want them to know that they can come to me for that. They ain't got to go to no other man or beg no man for nothing. It's a part of training. You see what I'm saying? And if a man does not respect you or revere you enough, you don't need it. So if I give them what they need, they're not wanting for it. They're looking for someone that is doing the same thing or that has the same energy. You see what I'm saying? So if we did that, literally, there would be no insecure little ladies or insecure women. There would be look, I grew up in a neighborhood to where the men in the neighborhood, when some stuff went down with one of the kids, all of them got together. Whether it was time to tote a gun or a knife, they was there to handle the problem. That's the way it should be. You see what I'm saying? But it's not like that anymore. it started out that way. That's how I grew up. Everybody did their part and everybody supported. Everybody respected.
Yep.
I can't say there wasn't no dirty old men. There was some dirty old men and some dirty young men. But if they were in the same place for men that were respectful, they got put in their place. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was nothing. If somebody said, if my child come to me and said somebody touched me, point out the person that touched you. Going back in the house, I got this, and it gonna never happen again. That's the way it is. Some of those things happened to me when I was a kid, and this is how my dad was a hero to me, because my aunt was way out of line, completely out of line. But it's somewhere down in their DNA, she felt like molestation was an okay thing. Well, she also felt like her way was trying to be a macho or male. So he said, okay, you want to act like one? You want to do something stupid to my kid? He touched every wall and made sure she recognized, never again put your hands on my kids. You ain't going to be in the same place with them. You ain't going to talk to them, not ever again. So that's what fit. That's the armor I fixed. Because if he did it, I need to do and be the same thing. You see what I'm saying? So I had to do and be the same thing for every child around me, every young lady around me. I wish that it would happen. It would pick up and take hold the same way somewhere in the future. If it happened tomorrow, we wouldn't all have to worry about it, and we would all be on the same page on how our children should be treated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how I believe it would look. It would be a system a full system of support, and they would be at the pinnacle of their spiritual power and their understanding. And they would, like I told her, my daughters and my sons needed someone like her. No disrespect to their mom. She's going through what she went through, but she didn't have enough. She only gave them what she thought she didn't have, which didn't help them. You see what I'm saying? But they needed a structure like she has structure. They needed the love and respect like she has respect, without the arguing and fighting, without the traumatic experiences. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of that happened with them after we broke up. So again, if they were all like her, they're all like my oldest sister, my second oldest sister. Like, I mean, I can name about 10 women. My great grandmother, my grandmother, my grandaunts. They were all women of this high standard. They didn't take no mess. They fed you. They loved you. They cussed you out when it was time to cuss you out. But get in here, get this pillow, lay down on the floor, and get some sleep. That's the way it was.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But that was the standard that they had. Look, I'm gonna chew you up and spit you out, but I love you. I love you enough to feed you. I love you enough to take care of you. Make sure you're safe. I lay down and get some sleep. That's the way it was. But that was their standard. If whoever poured into them, which was my great grandfather, and my great great grandfather, whoever poured into them that standard. So if we can get that back and start pouring that same way, not that they're not going to encounter negative stuff. They will, but they'll know what to do when it happens. Because my grandmother's a gun toter, a knife toter, and a machete. She carried a machete. That was for them ignorant folks. So it's but that's the standard that they had, and that was poured into them by my great grand and my great great grandfather. You see what I'm saying? So and I have it inside of me, and I love my daughters. I love Elise. Love Angel Neve. I love my sisters. I love my nieces and nephews. I love them all. And every chance I get, I talk to them, tell them how beautiful you are. My daughter's chocolate beautiful. All of my daughters are just beautiful women. And woe unto the men that treat them the wrong way. Because if they step back and let the gate open, it's going to be a problem.
You see me.
They're gonna need a few days to recover, but that's the way we are. We love our folks. We love our people.
Yeah.
I want my sons to be the same way, and I want.
Okay.
And I pour that. I do service support for youth and young adults. So I try to pour that same thing in out to them when I have conversations with them about what community should look like. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I feel.
Brother Larry.
I got to say, brother, that was beautifully said and it's so real. But but with this platform,
right.
we got to be true to ourselves
That's it.
and true to our people that's listening.
Right.
So I'm gonna tell you a mistake I made.
Mm.
I used to take my daughter out to eat. I used to do all that, and I used to tell her, look for the pitfalls of men.
Right.
But
Oh wow.
then, now this talking about my first marriage.
Right.
But because of the turmoil me and her mother was going through, I end up becoming selfish because I
Right.
wanted to be loved.
Right.
So when I thought I was doing things so my family wouldn't find out, it exploded in my face. And my
Mm.
daughter was affected by it. For
Mm.
years, I was in denial that a child's supposed to stay in her place and this and that. But my daughter was growing up into this young woman and
Mm.
didn't realize
Right.
what I have done. She had resentment towards me because I was a dad and I was a everything.
Right.
So what
Right.
ended up happening, she had this resentment and kept holding on to it. Even as we got older, no matter what I would do, babysit the kid, take all her kids and do stuff very special for them and all that, it didn't matter. My wife used to try to tell me she is still hurting for what you did. And I
Mm.
told my wife, no matter how many times I apologized to her and even to her mother, she
Mm.
still won't get rid of it. So sometimes what it made me think about, and it's just hearing your conversation just now,
Mm-hmm.
that that's why as men, we have to be careful. See, a lot of times we think when we go through something, and especially emotional, oh,
Right.
well, I'm going to show this person, I'm a survivor, or I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that because I need love too. But it don't only
Right.
just affect her, but it may affect your children, your
That's it.
choices you make. And
Right.
so even today as we speak, I'm so apologetic to my daughter. And if she ever see this video, she'll know I am so sorry.
Right.
Because I take it like, oh, get over it. It happened. It done. I done said I'm sorry. But you can say sorry all you want, but when you affect a child at a certain age,
So
they're
that's
gonna
right.
have to go through some changes, man. And so
Right.
I eventually came to the point to say that was my bad.
Mm.
That I can say sorry to her all day, but it was my bad. So I look at her kids and I try to be the perfect model now for them
Mm.
because I wasn't a perfect model for my daughter at that time because
Right.
I was selfish. I was selfish.
Right.
So when people think that children is not watching, they are
Oh yeah.
watching you all the time.
Time. That's it.
And
Yeah.
you may say, yeah, it was just one mistake. It don't matter.
Mm.
If she look at you as
They see
the hero and then you destroy that vision, it's a long way back.
It's a long way back. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
raising
So
no hands
we
to that.
have to be
Oh.
real as men in the community.
Mm.
We sometimes we got to stop thinking about us
Right.
and think about them.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to say,
Mm-hmm.
just from my experience with my daughter, my son, me and him roll hard because they call him Meanie Me.
Right.
But he even told my wife, he said, I don't know what ever happened if daddy gets sick. I don't know if my sister gonna feel the same way. And it hit me one night. For him to
Mm.
say that, he knows because they close.
Right.
He knows. And my
Mm.
wife,
Man.
since we've been married, my wife kept saying it. She said, you just don't understand her hurt.
Yes.
And I used to be hard-headed. She'll get over it. No, now it still affects me. And it affects her. So I'm here to tell most anybody listening and men, hey man, be careful of our steps because
Yes.
you think that you are being grown or doing things your way, but it can affect your children,
Right.
and that's real
Yeah.
talk. So thank you, brother,
Big
for
time.
bringing that out too. With your way of handling things and the kids, but But I had to be real on this platform because that's what we about.
Right.
We about that crap life. And even if
And
we did something wrong, we about telling people, yeah, we done made some mistakes too.
right. And you know, and that's with you saying that, there's some things that happen with my me and their mom don't get along. And my goal, regardless of what other people were saying, or how other people thought I should handle things, was I always needed to be in their face. The problem, and I'll say this, their mom suffered some things to the point to where she felt like she needed to have them completely under their wings, and she mimicked what was happening in her own childhood with our children, and to the point to where my daughter, and I picked up my daughter, take her to get her hair done, she's silent. She eventually says to me, we eventually had a conversation, and I wanted to be very clear about how she felt because she sent me this message, and she was saying things that didn't really happen, and I said, okay, first of all, what have I done or what have I said to you to make you feel this way? Because I don't recall any of these things happening. And she goes back in her mind and she says, well, no, you didn't. And I said, well, I need to understand why you're saying what you're saying. And she says, well, mom says that we respect you more than we respect her. And she does work hard and she does this and she does that for us. And I feel bad that she feels that way. And I'm like, okay, so you want to be angry with me because you want your mom to know that you are supporting her rather than supporting me. And that, it hurt, but there was a truth. And she lived with her mom. My sons live with me. So they understood my rules, they understood what was happening, they understood what the expectation was, but I still left the door open for them to go hang out and be with their mom. She didn't
Right.
feel the same way. My ex didn't feel the same way. She was sheltering my daughter as if things were happening like the things happened to her. I understand the mentality fully because we have children together. So it's like, why are you in this mindset? I can't change your mindset, but now you have your daughter believing that she needs the attention that and respect that I have because you feel like you do more. I'll never do that to her. Even when in the back of my mind I know she's wrong, I say respect your mom. Don't disrespect your mom. Don't
Exactly.
cuss at her. Don't throw nothing at her. That's the way it is. Well, mom did this. Look,
Exactly.
she did that. You have a conversation. You open your mouth and you talk to her. But I've never bad talked her to my kids. But in the back of her mind, she believes that those things happen, and I know where it comes from. It comes from the hard life that she had with her family, her siblings, and her mom. You see what I'm saying? So the sad part for me is I'm still wondering how this relationship is going to pan out between me and my daughter. I love Angel. I call her. I send her messages. She doesn't answer. That's fine. I get it because I understand. Like she explained it to me. I said, when you're ready to talk, you got my number. Give me a call. Yeah, I'm
Same
gonna
thing.
keep sending you messages. I'm gonna keep telling you happy birthday. I'm gonna keep sending you stuff. But
Same thing I love.
I understand where you're at. You see what I'm saying? So I get it. I get it. I understand the feeling. But
I have
I purpose not to do anything that would make them not like me and make them not love me because I understand how that feels. I understand how that feels. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Apostle. Go ahead.
being that I'm a father that caused
Mhm.
fatherless pain, which meant I cause a relationship model in my daughter's life that affects them to this day.
Mm.
Being that I know I did that, and even though I came out of that and I can show them what a father is supposed to do, what a man is supposed to be there, how to be in good relationship, how to make better decisions in my life.
Right.
Even with all of that, what would
Mhm.
you say to a version of me that don't have their things back together, don't and haven't understand how to build a relationship back with their children, haven't been vulnerable enough to accept what they have done and the pain that they have caused to their daughters? what would you say to a young version of me that may be looking and coming upon this that caused fatherless pain to the children, and now they saying, "Hey, I want to be able to redeem myself as a father."
Look, be ready for the conversation. You can listen, but you cannot give no excuses. If you try to give an excuse, it's done because you caused the pain. You caused the pain. You're gonna have to take it. You have to take everything they say. You got to take the mannerisms. You have to sit back and determine that you're gonna understand and listen. Because if you don't, then you've already cut off the conversation. You already cut off the communication. It's done. They see you, but they can't hear you. And that time that you talk to them may be the last time you talk if you determine that you want to act like you Papa now. It's too late. It's too late to act like Papa. So you got to come as someone that is humble. First of all, I'm humble. I'm sorry. I know I wasn't there for you. I want to be in your life. Tell me what we can do to begin to amend this. And please don't believe that it's going to be a short road. No, it's going to be a long road. And some things may come up. And I had this conversation with one of my nephews. I said, some things may come up in your life to where you need that person. And you may be in the back of their mind, they may be, should I call on them to help me? That is a test. If you call on them to help, if they're calling you to help, and you determine that you won't do it, or you come off like, hey, I ain't got to do this, or look, you're cutting your feet off. Listen, and listen. That's all you can do in the beginning stages of this. Listen, and listen. When they ask you questions and want answers, you got to give them the answer. It is a hard thing for you to talk to a man and you ask him for an answer. The main answer is, why weren't you here? Where were you at? What were you doing? You got to give an answer to that because you're responsible to be with them and support them and to raise them. That's what your responsibility was. But don't think the road is short. The road is long, and so many things are going to happen within that time frame, to the point to where you may get to the point to where it will become to look like a relationship. And then there's rules in regards to how we move forward at that point. I accept you. I accept your apology. They may not accept your apology in the beginning.
That's right.
They may not. You're like, oh, you're trying to get in good with me because maybe he's dying. Anything. That's in the back of their brain. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why I know this is because my son, my brothers didn't know my dad the way I knew him. But they have to break down and have this conversation. I don't know him. I know he died and everything is sad, but I didn't know him. So the question was, he wasn't there when I don't remember. He was in the hospital. So I had a lot of questions to answer for my dad because he wasn't there for them like he was for us. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I know. But it's a long road. And it's a long road to feeling like, okay, I'm good. It's a long road to get there. Like, I'm good. And then the hangout portion. You want to hang out with me? Where are we going? Let's go hang out. You see what I'm saying? But there's a lot involved in getting back to the place where you actually have a relationship. And the biggest thing that I've seen is a father telling the child, I'm coming to pick you up and we going somewhere. That happened too many times. You can write it off. You can write a future relationship off. And if they bump into you, we just bumped into each other. That's about it. Oh, I seen old dude. You're not father no more. They don't even call you by your first name. I bumped into old dude. I bumped into old dude. And this is serious though, because you've built up with you not being there, or you skip tracing. You built up this image of this dude ain't never been there. He ain't never going to be there consistently. That's what they're looking for, consistent. Right. And let's have a continual conversation, whether it be over 10 years or 5 years. You have to be consistent in going in a direction to where they're begin to accept that, yeah, he is really sorry. He is apologizing. He does want to be in my life. He does want to be in the life of my kids. Okay, let's move forward. But it takes a long time. And
It
listen,
does.
listen, and listen.
But you know what?
There
I'm
is
glad. I'm
absolutely
glad you
Right,
said that. I'm glad
right.
you said that because a friend told me one time. He
Hmm.
said, "Man, when you do wrong and you're trying to reconcile, it's like you walking on a
And
house full of glass
right,
and you have to tippy toe.
right,
Because you could say the wrong thing and it's like it will flare back up. Like you got a piece of steak on the grill and that grease is that
exact,
hot cold. So
right.
he said, you got to walk very carefully.
Carefully. There you go.
So I remember asking my daughter a few months ago, I said, babe, whatever I have done, I'm telling you again, I apologize. And I apologize for my actions when you was younger and this and that. But I asked her a question. Where do we go from here?
There you go.
How do you want to handle
Mm.
it? Because now I got to put it on you because you.
Right. Oh man.
No. Two times. Two times.
right.
Two
I'm gonna
times.
say this: as the daughter, okay,
Okay.
as the daughter with daughters, okay.
Yeah. Woo.
Sometimes, whether your apology is accepted or not, you have to make the life choices and stick to them because whatever you perpetuate is what's going to be reflected in their life, whether you're there or not.
Mm,
It's generational,
Facts.
whether they recognize it or not.
mm,
Whether they recognize it or not, a girl is always going to marry dad in some form or fashion.
right, right,
What her visual of it is, what her feeling
Facts.
of that is.
right.
If she had negative feeling and there was negativity surrounding the relationship with their father,
That's the energy.
then you have these situationships
Mm,
where I love him, but he treats you any old kind of way, or you're satisfied with him just being there because dad was never there. Not that he treats you well while he's there, but he's there,
mm,
and then they settle for that. Always, whatever it is that you have done, make sure that you apologize. If they don't receive it, they don't receive it. But you need to make them changes in your life
Right.
that model what should be going forward.
mhm,
Whether it be
Facts.
if they have kids, don't have kids, whether it's your grandkids, whatever that looks like, if you're even allowed to see your grandkids,
mm,
what happens after that point, they need to hear somewhere down the line, oh, dad got remarried, it's tight, and they had another child, and this is how this is looking. He
mm,
got it together. You know what I'm saying? You
mm,
might want to reach out, you might not want to reach out, but he's in a better place now.
mm,
Those things are helpful,
mm.
especially if you was
Yes.
trifling. If you was trifling, you was the no show. You gonna
I,
have to show something.
Right.
I thought,
Yeah.
that's when I noticed that she got a part of me and her mother, maybe 80 moments or percent of her mother in
Mm,
her. And that was the conflict at first. 'Cause I say, it's like I'm dealing with a younger Rita again, all over again.
mm,
But I
right.
had to eat that. I
Mm,
had to eat that because I knew what
Facts.
my role was in.
right.
So just like you were saying, I had to, like, regardless of what, I'll say, you know what? I will call her and see if they're home because I want to buy a few gifts for the kids and I want to bring it by. So I
Mm,
asked her permission. I'm not going to just come through there
right,
because
right,
I want to make sure you okay with me bringing some gifts to the kids. Yes?
Facts.
And
right.
she'll tell you, I do that all the time. Hey,
Mm,
can I bring them some snacks? I'm in the neighborhood. And I let her dictate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come on, Dad. That'll be fine. And
mm,
then last week was the first week in a long time. She said, Dad, you think you can watch the kids for me while I go to
mm.
one of the cousins' birthday party? I'm smiling
Milestone.
to myself. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Turn into
can.
Obama
That's
real
it.
quick.
No
Yes,
That's
we
talking
can.
back.
I'm talking about
that's
No
a
some real
talking.
quick.
milestone.
Yes,
I
Right.
I
got
can.
him. So
Miss
you all right,
Lady, you
brother?
got anything to
You,
add on to that?
huh? What you say?
I asked Miss Lady if she had anything to add on.
Yeah, one of the things is where you, Mr. Suma Imo, your daughter, her mother is holding her in emotional bondage. That's
Mm,
what's going on with her. She's
mm,
holding her in
Mm.
emotional bondage
right.
because she won't she hasn't forgiven you or nor let you go.
Did it
Mm.
freeze?
Wow.
So because of
Come back.
that,
There you go.
Got the door.
Mm.
she's gonna hold the daughter captive emotionally.
Wow.
And what's gonna happen is as the daughter gets older, and as you know, and as her eyes get open, and her eyes is really being open now because you said something about the daughter got upset with her and threw something at her. The
Right.
reason why that's happening because the daughter is slowly breaking out of captivity.
Mm.
That's why that's
Mm.
happening.
Coming home
Yeah,
individual.
she's breaking out of captivity because guess what? She's from her own relationship with you, and she's saying, okay, what you saying about daddy, and what I see and what I know about daddy doesn't match up with what you say.
Mm.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right.
Mm.
So now I'm wondering, is you lying or is he
Mm.
faking?
Right.
Come on.
Because that's where she,
Come on.
because that's where she is.
Mm.
Hmm.
That's where
And
Mm.
she.
and
Right.
I'll say this to be a father that actually caused pain and had to build a relationship back in my daughter's life. I'm gonna say to the young men, don't lie to your daughters. Don't lie to your daughters. Always be upfront. And I've
Yeah.
been able to have what I said before is a round table where we could sit down and they could actually tell me whatever they wanted to say, whatever they felt about me not being there, whatever they felt I should be doing while I was doing that. All of that affects the relationship models. Because to come back and to realize that you have effed up big and to say, you know what, I know I effed up big, but here's what I want to be in your life.
Mm.
And I will work hard as hell to do that. It's still a place of a pull and give at time to time. My daughters both know. They know I'm here. So from a father that caused the pain, that knowing now I caused relationship models to be dysfunctional because I
Mm.
was young and running the streets, didn't realize the importance of that.
Mm.
Okay.
So to my young men, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Miss Lady.
What I was about to say was, I understand. I understand everything that you're saying.
Hmm.
What I will add to that is with the men and the women, regardless of what happened in the relationship with the adults that affect the children, the woman, and I'm telling you from experience, we as women, we got to take accountability for where we messed up at. It's not
Mm.
always the man. I know
Mm.
some women get mad with me. Guess what? I don't care because it is what it is. It really is.
That young woman ain't trying to hear what you talking about right now. Because when she emotionally charged, she ain't gonna hear nothing
Hey,
nobody got to
calm
say.
down. Calm down, Larry. Calm down, Larry. Calm down.
Yes, girls call
And
me
she
to the
should
carpet
know that
all the
because she
time.
got girls.
Yeah, I have
When they're
girls.
Whoa.
emotionally
Whoa, slow
charged,
down.
it
Whoa.
ain't nothing.
Slow down.
So the
Slow
reason why
down.
I'm
Let
saying that,
let her
I'm saying
finish.
that because I was married before too.
Mm.
And when me and my ex-husband separated and we got divorced, I was a part of this ministry, right? Everybody was
Mm.
telling me, oh, he was all the way wrong. He was all the way wrong. You ain't did nothing wrong. You did everything right. And these what these people was telling me. So it was when you in a marriage and you've been married for a very long time, it's really like a death. A
Mm.
death. It really is. So one day I was at work and I just really couldn't focus. And I was still upset. I was still crying. So I had to go pray to find out, okay, what truly happened. Do you know what God said to me? He said,
Mm.
part of this was your fault. And I asked him,
Mm.
I said, how was it my fault? He said, because the time that he needed for you to give to him, you didn't give to him. So
Mm.
all of the blame of the demise of the marriage is not on him. You played a part. Guess what I
That's
had to
Mm.
it.
do? I had to go to him and apologize for the part that I played. And
Right.
guess what that did? That freed him. But when
Mm.
I went and I told the people that was telling me it was all his fault, and I told them no, it wasn't, oh, they got upset with me.
Of course.
And that let me know, okay, I've been fooling with the wrong people for a long time. Let me get away from y'all. Because if y'all can't, because for as women, if we can't take up the accountability for our part of a demise in a relationship, we have some serious issues.
Right.
But a young woman got to learn that, and they got to go through it like everybody else. I'm not talking
See,
about a woman. I'm
thank God.
talking about when they're young. Because emotions, we know most women are guided by emotions. So think at a young age, they are really all over the place. Because they still trying to learn how to guide their emotions and trying to balance that emotion. So a young person at 13 or 14 experiencing something, they may carry that to they about 40. They could carry that to they
Facts.
50.
That's fact, shit.
And
Facts.
So only thing I'm saying, what my brother had said, is that we have to play a role to humble ourselves and deal with that situation, because we also know we're dealing with women and emotion being emotionally charged,
right.
dealing with a young girl, a young daughter being emotionally charged could be almost 10 times greater.
Yeah. But that's where
Yes.
the maturity of
They got to grow into it.
That's where the maturity of a real woman comes in at. Because when a real woman can take accountability for the part that she played in the model when it comes down to a marriage or a relationship or the demise,
Come on.
and that child saw it, when that woman can take accountability and say, no, baby, it's not all on your daddy. I played a part too.
My ex-wife said, talk about. My ex-wife told my children and told her, if it wasn't for the grandkids, I wouldn't speak to them. All these years, she is still hurting from that demise, and she's a grown grandma.
But
So,
see, but see, that's the thing though. And even with the relationship I had with her, at a point I realized that her past was looping. Everything that happened to her was in a loop, and I had to sit back and I had to realize that. So there's some things I couldn't blame her for. I couldn't blame her because that was the model that she kept seeing over and over again, and the hurt contributed to that was what was going on. You see what I'm saying? So after a while we had a conversation. I'm like, look, you cannot see me right now. You're not going to be able to see me until you're about 30 so years old, because you're in this loop.
And you talking about the daughter?
No, I'm talking about the mom. The mom.
Mother.
So, and this this contributes to the relationship with my kids, is she's still in this loop. And see, at one point, my daughter, when I went to pick them up, she would grab my hand because mom would always start an argument. She would grab my hand and say, Dad, let's go. There's something wrong with my mom. There's something wrong with my mom. It's okay. But again, I had to come to a full understanding of what was happening in the relationship in order for me to understand and help my children get through what was happening. So if I just flew off the cuff and got angry every time that that we engaged outside of physical, because there was the physical stuff I couldn't deal with. Hell no, we're not doing no physical. I'll sit and listen to you, and that was the thing I did. I'll sit and listen to you and not say a word.
Not say a word.
But in order for her and she wanted to engage, so she would throw something and try to hit me with it or something like that to get me to start talking. I'm like, no, I'm listening. I'm understanding. I'm soaking in what's happening. I realize this happened with your mom. I realize this happened. I realize this went on. But I'm not that person that did it. I was not there when it happened. I'm keep trying to help you understand it wasn't me. I'm here to support you. And it was a thing to where she was quiet initially, mind you. She was very quiet initially when I met her. But when she realized she had a voice, that's when everything changed. So she went through stages. It was being quiet and accepting people abusing her. Then going to a next stage of, oh, I can speak. I do have a voice. Oh, there's somebody supporting me. Now I'm going to scream it to the mountaintops because I didn't before. Now you're in trouble. I'm going to say exactly what it was. And every time she engaged her mom, it was a fight. You did this to me. You did this. And I had to stand back like, man, this ain't my fight. This ain't my fight at all. I have nothing to do with what's happening here. I'm just a post here accepting what she's dishing because she's going through these motions. And it was on me to research and to find that out before we decided to be together. You see what I'm saying? So that was my fault. That was my mistake. I could have just been instead of a person there supporting her, but I engaged and we had children and it was a relationship, but she could not see me. So the next thing that she did was hold her kids so close to her because she didn't want the same thing to happen to them like what happened to her. You see what I'm saying? So I'm fully aware of that, period. I'm fully aware of that, and I'm fully aware of what's happening in the mind of my children. It hurts me because I didn't want that for them at all. And with every young lady that I've had a conversation with in counseling, I listen and I let them talk. If you let them talk long enough, they'll talk themselves in a circle and they'll realize, oh man, this is me. This is my fault. This is the way I acted every time I engaged. This is the way I did every time I engaged. I didn't give him a chance to do this. I didn't give him a chance to do that. And the tears start flowing. And then, oh my God, how do I get out of it? And that's the hardest part. The hardest part for them is breaking away and going to apologize and realizing what that is going to do to their whole situation. Is this going to break everything down? Is it going to change? Is he going to leave me? Am I going to have to start all over? Am I going to have to find another place to live? Those are the things that are running through their brain. You see what I'm saying? But if you let them talk long enough and let them cry long enough, they'll talk themselves in a circle and they'll say exactly what it was. If it was them, it was them. And if it wasn't their parents, it was me. I'm so sorry. I said, well, you need to go make a couple phone calls now, don't you? Yeah, I got to make some phone calls. This is the hardest part. Yes, it's the hardest part, but you realize what the problem is. So it's not that they don't want to, is that there's so many things are happening so quickly in their lives, and they're accepting so much so quickly that they don't know how to compartmentalize it or go back to it and say, hey, maybe I messed up. Maybe I was yelling when I should have been listening. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All of this stuff is based on this life that's happening so quickly that they can't pause. And when it comes time for them to pause or somebody listening and all they can do is sit there and talk about it, then it's gonna happen. Then it's gonna click. Oh man, and I did this to this person, and I did this to this person. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? How is it gonna change the way I look? If you go back to apologize, they may be mad at you for a minute because you just realize it, but eventually it may heal some things. But if it don't heal nothing in nobody else, it's healing something in you. You see what I'm saying? It's healing something right there. Now your heart's open up enough to where you can find love and go back and act loving instead of acting angry and acting confused. Because 9 times out of 10, the idea of being a side chick or that bitch is so involved in their head, and it's such an image that they can't find themselves in it. You see what I'm saying? They can't find themselves in their heart. And when they do find themselves in their heart, oh, this is the type of person I intended to be the whole time. Social media got in the way. When you fought that one person, everybody's like, oh, she's that bitch. Oh, and she became that after they said this is the image. But they said there was the image. It wasn't her that said it was the image. It wasn't her that determined that. But the heart has to be open enough to say, I did it, and now I can love more. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's in everyone. It's in all of us. But if we need the right moment, we need to have that conversation. The conversation where you got about 30 minutes to an hour to just talk about the stuff that's going on and that's eating you alive. And the minute you do, it flips back to you know who did it, and it was me. That's the that's the breakthrough. That's the breakthrough. Yeah. And they just need that time or a moment to get the breakthrough. You see what I'm saying? So it's in there. It's all in there. I have hope for everybody that I have a conversation with when it comes to the support for youth and young adults. That's our future. You see what I'm saying? It's our future. So we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Their life ain't over yet. It isn't. If their life isn't numbered, and it's not over. So they have an opportunity to say, look, okay, and then that whole thing that they went through is a testimony for someone else. So if they see someone else acting like they were acting, I was that same person. I did this, that, and the other. You need to go find somebody to talk to, because it may not be what you're saying right now, because you're whoever they said that you are, not who you want to be or who you determine that you are. You see what I'm saying? So
Beautiful,
This is
beautiful. You couldn't have said it no better. Couldn't have said it no better. Now
You're a
we're
bad
gonna go
man.
into closing. Ooh, we're gonna go into closing remarks. In
okay.
your closing remarks, I need
Mm-hmm.
each individual to share their
Mm-hmm.
love and impact for a relationship in the model that they have today that they want to share with anybody. Whatever the end, what's that closing thing that impact your love in
Mm-hmm.
relationship in your
Mm-hmm.
closing remarks? Each
Well,
each
I want
individual.
to. Well, first thing I want to say is thank you to my beautiful wife. And regardless of any ups and downs, we all in this entire world gonna have those ups and downs. Those different frequencies go on. But the most beautiful thing is still learning not to go to bed mad. Have have communication.
That's it.
Grandparents used to tell us never to go to bed mad.
Nope.
That's
Never.
one. And
No.
have a conversation. And we as men sometimes learn how to be quiet and listen.
Yeah.
Because if we listen more, we
Mm-hmm.
will hear the woman express herself in such a beautiful way. And then you say to yourself, you know what? It ain't that bad after all.
No.
And then have concern for that of your mate.
Mm-hmm.
She comes home. I know what kind of work she goes through, and I know what she goes through at work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just yesterday, I made sure to put on some beautiful music, make sure everything was clean, had some incense burning, and she came in, and I was just like, I'm yours. She came, sat on this couch, laid in my arm, and I was quiet to let her just put her head on my shoulders, listen to that beautiful music, and
Mm,
unwind with her husband. See,
mm.
That
I had to learn to not ask a whole bunch of questions. Hey, babe, good to see you. Come on over here. She said, oh, that music sounds so good. I was like this. I'm getting there.
yeah,
I'm getting better at this. You know,
yeah,
I used
yeah,
to want to
yeah.
ask questions. What this one did? What that? Now I'm bringing all that energy back where she just left her job from, and I don't need to do that. So what I
Right.
need to do is just be supportive of her
Right.
and let her know this is a safe haven. So when you
That's
come
right.
here, I'm about trying to make you feel okay, hon. Because I
Right.
know working out there in them some streets and this world, the way it's going. So I'm here to be that safe husband that you can come and lay on me. And when you feel like speaking about it, I'm gonna sit there and listen. Wait till you finish, give my opinion. I said, now what we gonna cook to eat, babe? And
Facts.
so I have learned, regardless of what we go through. I told somebody, and matter of fact, I told you, my brother, through darkness, I found light because that means the Most High was still with me. And
Mm,
Yep.
so, even though when a dark clouds came up over our household, instead of me looking at it like, oh, life is over, no, I saw light. So that darkness, in darkness, sometimes you find light in how they deal with the situation. Because I'm counting
only way
on
I
the
do.
Most High to bring
Right.
us through, but to also to show me who's the enemy, what's going on. A lot of
Mm,
times, the enemy or the unseen spirits may try to act like it's your partner. But see, that's the devil trick to break you up and for you to have a problem. Now she don't even have a safe haven coming home because we both mad.
mm.
We both don't have no
Say that.
communication. So now,
Say that.
so guess what? Now the situation is broke up, and he's sitting back smiling like, I know I got another family.
Got
No,
it.
now here you don't. Now here you don't, because the Most High don't bless me and her. So guess what? Long as I stay focused and be the man that she always saw in me, and be the one, because she used to tell me, "Oh, you love too hard." I can't help it because I'm of God. I'm sorry. I do. I
Say
do.
that.
I do love hard. But what
Mm,
the love I have is always about forgiving and letting you be able to be your best self. My job is to be here to help you be your best self because there's no me without you. But when we're in together, Superman and Superwoman. And I know that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all I
mm.
can tell other couples out there, man, when y'all see darkness, man, y'all embrace each other and hold on. And be like, yeah, it's sunshine outside. Everything is okay.
Miss Lady.
What I will say is that when it comes to relationships, whether you're married, whether you're not married, what I will say is that for as women, we still have to stay within our role. And what I mean by that is stay feminine, stay soft. Do not try to do not try to operate in a man's mode because that's really survival mode. And I'm learning that now because for a long time I had to operate in survival mode. So that means I was the
Mm.
man, the woman, I was all of that.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you, it gets tiresome, it weighs on you, it messes with your health and everything. So I'm learning now just okay, I don't want to be survival mode like that no more. I want to be the woman that I was intended to be. I want to have, that softness. I used to be I'm the one. He'll tell you if he tell me something is wrong or something needs to get done. He knows I'm gonna do any and everything possible to make it happen. Come hell or high water, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm getting out of that mode of doing that.
We're gonna do it together, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of that mode because that takes up all your energy. It really does. It takes up your energy to the point where you don't have nothing for no one, not even yourself. And when you don't have nothing for no one, not even yourself, you can't love your spouse, and you definitely can't love me.
Mm.
Mm.
I couldn't say that no better. Miss Sigma Uno.
Man, I love y'all.
Love me too.
So what I'm going to say is love the person that you're with where they are. Know their potential, but love them where they are. If you cannot love them where they are, you don't love that individual. You cannot love an individual's potential because just because you see that potential in them does not mean they will ever reach it.
Mm.
Then you're in a resentful relationship because why can't they be better? I know they can do better. I know they can be better. I deserve better. No, you deserve the person that you are with. You have to love them where they are. If they're not there, again, then that's just not your person. And it might not be for right now. You might have to wait. You may very well have to wait. But it is very intentional that you love a person where they are because you can't want something for somebody else that they don't want for themselves.
Exactly.
You can want it, but it doesn't it'll ever be attained.
Right.
So then again, you have resentment
Mm.
unnecessary, and now you're hostile because why didn't you mow the lawn at this angle? Because the neighbor's lawn is at this angle. It would have been symmetrical. Ain't nobody thinking about that. We just try to get the grass cut. You know what I mean?
Right.
If there was instructions beforehand, we could have had a discussion. But I done already mowed the lawn now. Maybe next time. Now that we've had this discussion
Right.
and communication, love them where they're at and communicate with them. Find out where they think they're going, because where they believe they're going might not be what you believe their potential is.
Mm.
Communication is a very, very important.
So true. So true.
So,
Mister.
Go ahead, brother.
for
Come
me,
on, Big Uno.
well, basically, for me, it's I agree 100%. Love the one that you're with, but the way that things happen for us, and how we touch bases over a number of years, and it was like checking in with each other. There were some dreams and things that we talked about in the earlier times that we met with each other, and it stuck in my head, and I remembered what the things that she wanted, the type of life that she was, but I also knew what caliber of woman she was. I knew it. She's that woman that when you see a ballroom and everything, the tables are set and everything is in a perfect, everything's perfect. That's who she is. So we know the house is going to be the same way, the household, and the everything about the household, the children. she's gonna love the children a specific way. She has a vision for literally everything, and our visions didn't completely line up because I'm hard-headed male most of the time, wanting to do
True.
exactly what I want to do to and build the way I want to build, but at the same time I had to consider: am I building by myself or am I building with someone? And with her, I literally had to sit back and say, am I building? What are we building? And when she said multifamily, I was like, yes, let's do it. I'm with it. And can we do it? Yes, we can. It's possible. There's some things that get in the way sometimes. There's some things that get in the way of the dreams, but for the most part, I'm harder on myself than she is, because she sees the potential. She sees the bigger picture. She sees the end result. So while I'm fighting, like Miss Lady said, like when we're fighting and we're in that mode trying to get things done, she's sitting back like, hold on a second. There are times when she wants to grab the phone, and when she grabs the phone, I have to stand back and let her do what she does best. And because it contributes to the direction that we're going in. You see what I'm saying? So it's important. Love the person that you're with. Love the person that you chose. If you chose the wrong way and you decided because of the way they looked, or you decided because of what they was driving, that don't last, because cars break down and looks change. You see what I'm saying? So, so it has to be a genuine thing. You have to genuinely choose the person that you want to be with. Just genuinely choose a person based on the look. Again, for us, it was just a cosmic thing. It's a silent cosmic thing, and it's a love to where there's a pedestal for her from me, and it's just this cosmic empress, and I love her as much as she loves me, and probably more.
I was hoodwinked.
It's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
We already started walking.
Hey, look, my closing remarks is: be careful of the models that you have when it comes to relationships. Because I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said sometimes of the model that we have about relationship can be self-sabotage.
Oh wow!
We don't understand how devastating some of the images and the models and the functionality of those models. Because I know for myself, I did function in a dysfunctional model in relationship for many years. And it wasn't until I stepped into a true divine state that I realized I had to change every aspect of my life when it came to relationship, because it was so foul.
Right.
I didn't think it was foul when I was young, because it was just part of me living. Right. So my closing remarks to be to everyone out there: check your model when it comes to relationship. Check your model when it comes to parenting and raising and guarding the soul. Check your model when it comes to business, how you create it. Check your model when it comes to friends and family. Check your model when you're doing these things, because it just not affects you. It affects the relationship that you're going to be in. It affects the relationship you're going to be in with your children. It affects everything in your life. Please become aware to those things that are happening around you. And with that, I'm going to say this has been a phenomenal show. I want to thank both couples for coming on tonight and really sharing and being open and sharing all of these intricate stories, personal stories about their life that transform them and help them understand the model that they have. And with that, we're going to say we talk that crap, and we'll see y'all next week. Yeah.
Observe and not to support, to discourage. Vision so passionate, it's disturbing. Create a rise, I was positive surging. Cosmic folks see emerges. Brain of eternal, hands on my time. Impossible prince, can God watch you step in the mind. Soul triggers, power, holy, divine righteousness. Combined with courage, love of essence. Don't let trauma bind and block your blessings. When you